up, guys? Welcome out to another episode of According to Kaz and Queen. And as always, I'm Kaz.
And I'm Queen.
And this is this little podcast of ours. These are conversations that happen between a husband and wife in the privacy of our own home that we bring to you guys. Sometimes to make you laugh, sometimes to make you think, to make you be introspective, but most of all, to open up the lines of communication between husbands and wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, friends and lovers, all of that good stuff. You can catch us on all streaming services, and we are on Black with No Chaser Radio. You know the drill by now. Download the BWNC radio app, all right? The Black with No Chaser radio app, all right? You can get it in the iTunes store, or you can get it in the Google Play Store. Do that as well. Check us out there. And, of course, we are on all social media platforms. Make sure that you're following us, all right? We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of that. And, of course, we are on YouTube. So make sure that you go to youtube.com/Brad Kamikaze Franklin, youtube.com/Brad Kamikaze Franklin. Check us out there. Appreciate you. Please subscribe. Hit that bell. Turn on those notifications, man. All right. Of course, you see my finger right here? I'm going to do two fingers, like plow right there. All right. So make sure that you're checking it out. Go to that YouTube page right now. Go to their YouTube page and subscribe, and you can be tapped in with all of these great conversations that we have here. This is brought to you by the Kundi Collection, all right, www.kundicollective.com. Got on one of the shirts right now. This is one of our top sellers, if not the top seller, all right? Ain't no genius like Black Mississippi Genius. You can get that at www.kundicollective.com. All right. Make sure you check out those t-shirts, man. Make sure you check out all the great stuff that we have on that website, man. We've got a design for any state of mind. All right. Represent your blackness or represent Mississippi. Make sure you do that by going to that website. And of course, we'll be talking about debate night. It's coming up really soon. We got a really special show that's going to be coming up real soon with some special guests. So y'all stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking about that. But of course, I know some of you are probably asking. I look for you guys Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Look for you guys last night. You weren't there. Well, there was some recovery that had to take place. We had a very busy weekend. My birthday, my born day was this past weekend. And I had a plan in place for some celebrating. I had a game plan. I had it all mapped out. I had it scheduled out. You know, when you get to a particular age, you can't just recklessly go into the drinking and the partying. I had a plan, guys. I had a plan. I had a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday plan mapped out, because the aim now for me in drinking is to not have a hangover. The aim for me now is to be able to drink, but also be able to get up the next day and be functional. That is my aim. Somewhere in the plan, I think the plan went wrong on night one. is what I think happened. I had a doubt about it. Had a very carefully laid plan together. Night one of the plan, it went off the rails in night one. Surrounded by, you know, my inner circle of people that I love, that I have known for 30 years or more. And, you know, when we all get together, it's just like we haven't been apart. These are not people that I see or talk to regularly, but it's always love. And night one took me out of there. Started off with the margaritas, and there was some shots in there, some good food and some laughter. And then once that happened, it just kind of snowballed. And I woke up on Saturday in recovery mode on day 2, which was not the plan. I did, however, you know, take enough precautions. Had the BC, the water, got some sleep, all of that before we got to the day party. So I was able to recover to some level of decency for the day party. Got to the day party and did some more drinking at the day party. Felt the buzz come back again. Had myself a nap planned before we went to the party that night. I did a 2-a-day, which is, you know, at this age, you don't really plan for the 2-a-days. We had a nice little 3-hour stretch, I think it was, in between. And then we got up and we went to another party later on that night. I can tell you that in that 3-hour span, nothing that happened in that 3-hour span indicated to me that I was going to be able to make it for the last part of the evening. Nothing happening. There was nothing positive. There was nothing in that 3-hour span that said you're going to be able to make it to this party. But I was determined to do so because I'm a G. All right. I'm a player about mine, and I was determined to follow through on my plan. We got to the party. The music was good, by the way. Shouts out to my man DJ Finesse. I think that really contributed to me getting a little burst of energy. The DJ started bringing us shots. All right. Started bringing us tequila shots. The DJ's intent was to actually make a fool of me in the club that night. That was his aim. I am an expert at this, though. My wife and I are veterans, and I am well known in my friend circles for throwing a smoke bomb. I'm well known. I'm a master of the smoke bomb and the disappearing act. We got to the second shots of tequila. I knew then that we were in dangerous territory at that point. I knew that if a third round came around, I knew that the next day I was not going to be any good at all whatsoever. After the second shot, the DJ went in and he did his thing. And turns out that we were able to throw that smoke bomb. So we threw that smoke bomb.
Not we.
Okay, well, I did. Threw the smoke bomb.
Because I got the smoke bomb thrown on me.
I mean, but, you was with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But it wasn't like a discussion. You was just like, all right, that's it.
You was with me.
I had to get up and leave.
Well, tell me, how were you feeling at the time? Tell me how you were feeling.
Oh, I crashed at the day party. I felt myself hit the wall at the day party on Saturday. But
you was with me. You rolled with me to the end, baby, like you always do. But clearly we bit off a little bit more than we should have. Probably going forward, we may eliminate 2 of those 3 days.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I think the issue is. I think there was so much focus on the sluggish, stomach achy, not feeling well, hangover part. Mm-hmm. We didn't want that, but we did not put a whole lot of energy into the part of the hangover that makes you feel fatigue.
Yes, the dehydration.
So we have to actually make sure that, because I didn't even take a nap in between. You were able to get like a 30-minute nap, but it wasn't a good one because I was asleep.
Correct.
So I didn't even get a nap, but I could have not gone to the night party. I could have missed that. I could have just not done that because I hit the wall at the day party. But
I can imagine
where you were. We've discussed this before. Where you were done at round 2, I was picking up steam. So I could have kept going as long as the shots kept going.
Yeah, there's a thing with...
But I probably wouldn't have got out of bed the next day.
There's this thing with this marriage of ours. I don't know how it happens, but somehow tequila shots gives you energy. Mm-hmm. You could be down in a very mellow mood, and if you get a couple of tequila shots, it perks you up.
100% Patron.
I've never seen anything like it. It's the 100%. Craziest thing that I have ever seen.
So tequila brings you down.
Liquor, well, I'm going to tell you, the white is okay. The brown
brings you down.
Is going to bring me down. It's going to make me belligerent, and then it's going to make me clown, and then it's going to bring me down. That's what it's going to do. So I try to stay on the vodka and I try to stay on the clear liquors because for me, it's much easier to manage. And it's also easier on the calorie side too, as well. So I kind of stay in that realm. So if I stay in the vodka and cranberry realm and a couple of shots, it's cool. But the fatigue had set in. Even drinking water, you still don't even realize how much the liquor does dehydrate you still, even with you drinking water. Because if you're drinking water in between, drinking water after every drink, drinking water after every shot, and you're still getting dehydrated, you still wake up the next day with that dehydrated feeling.
Well, you were not drinking water after every drink and after every shot, and you weren't drinking enough. Taking a sip of water after a shot little bit more is than that. Not what you want to do. You got it down the bottom.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a tutorial for you guys once you get up there in age, for everyone who is 40 plus and knows about
Hangovers
drinking.
101. How to avoid them.
How to avoid them. I remember a time when I could drink till 3 a.m. and all I needed was 3 hours of sleep. I'd drink till 3 a.m. and get up at 6 a.m. and go to work and feel fresh as a daisy. I remember those days.
Yeah, because you were fresh. Your body was fresh.
I was fresh as a daisy.
And new.
The last hangover that I had.
Not so much anymore.
The last hangover that I had where I said, I do not want another hangover like this again, where I felt like I was going to die. My hangover lasted for like 36 hours. It was like a day.
When
it was almost
that?
2 days. It's been a minute.
Really?
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. It traumatized me so bad. I was like, I'm never going through this again, because I got this thing about being able to get up the next day and be functional. And then, of course, Sunday was the day that I was going to dinner with you and the baby. And I wanted to be, up and fit for that, because out of all the things that I did on my birthday weekend, I wanted that to be one where I was there and lucid and, of good mind and spirit, because I wanted to enjoy that time with you guys. But it was rough. It was rough getting through that Sunday. It was rough.
Really?
But yes, it was rough getting through that Sunday. Incidentally, I learned something. I talked to my guy, Ice Agree. Shouts out to my man, Ice Agree. I heard Cocky McFly, who's one of the hosts of Debate Night, by the way. I heard Cocky McFly talking about the liquid IV. You're familiar with this. Mm-hmm. I was talking to Greg, and Greg called me, and I was telling him I was trying to recover and rehydrate, and he started laughing. He was like, hey, man, you need to get you that liquid IV. I was like, I just heard somebody saying something about that yesterday. As a matter of fact, this was Monday. And he's like, you got to get that liquid IV. He was like, you put that liquid IV in your water and you back in there. He was like, man, I had a hangover and I felt horrible. I felt like I was about to die, because he's about our age. And he was like, my guy told me about the liquid IV. I took it. You get a bottle of water. You put the liquid IV in there. You shake it up. You drink it down, and it brings you right back. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah. I was like, word? He was like, yeah. So we're going to get some liquid IV. Okay. I knew that at some point they were going to figure out a way to get you to recover from the symptoms of the hangover pretty fast. And damn it, science. It has done it. So liquid IV, wherever that is, CVS, Walgreens, whatever. This isn't a cheap plug for that, but we're going to get that liquid IV. That does not mean that I'm going to put myself in that position, because I don't like it. I feel like I was made out of dust. I feel like at any point Thanos could have came through and snapped, and I'd have just flew away.
Well, half of your problem is that desire to get up and start the day early.
Yes.
See, I don't have that desire.
You do not have that issue.
I am cool with staying in the bed until my body says it's time to get up. You fight that notion. If you had stayed in bed until Sunday, you did pretty good, but I think you had already been up by the time I got up. Mm-hmm. But Saturday,
that was the day I should have stayed in the bed.
Saturday, you should have stayed in the bed a little longer too. You got up and went to the gym. That's crazy. You dehydrated yourself even further.
Friday I went. I didn't go Saturday and Sunday. I went Friday, so I didn't have to go Saturday and Sunday. So I didn't, but I did get up Saturday and started walking around.
Your body has to have time to restore.
For nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And you just can't just lay in the bed. Just lay down, chill out. What you doing?
It'd be tough, man.
What you rushing for?
I gotta be honest with you. Sometimes it's hard for me to just lay there.
That's manic. It's obsessive.
I want to change it. I don't have the lounging skills.
Do you think that lounging equals laziness?
I have conditioned myself to feel like that. I've conditioned myself to not have idle time like that. Like if I'm
it's not idle time.
And then also
you're actually doing something important. It's called
resting.
rest.
I got you. There's also the thing of the time that I have before the house wakes up. I be trying to take advantage of that too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do on a normal basis, but in the case
of my birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I can dig it. That's cool. So, couple of things. First of all, I saw somebody post this, and I think they are correct in this assumption that Brian McKnight is the supervillain that we want Jada Pinkett to be. And I believe that to be true. I think that he is a supervillain. I think that there is something going on there, and I want to defer to you in your skill set in this here. What is happening with Brian McKnight? He has changed his name to match his new baby's name, thus separating himself even further, or making a physical attempt to separate himself from the namesake of his son and his other kids. He has now changed his name to match the name of his baby. Now, what is wrong with him?
Mm-hmm. I can't righteously say what's wrong with this man, but I can tell you some ideas that I have had. Somebody to put some roots on him.
You think the lady put some roots on
For
him?
those of you who don't know what that is, a jinx, a hex, something, voodoo, something like that. He is mentally detached, or something has happened that we're not privy to with his relationship with his son.
Because they have a tumultuous relationship now. That's for sure.
His son has also named his son Brian McKnight. Mm-hmm. So his legacy that he's chasing is already there.
Yes.
So him wanting to separate himself from that legacy and start a new one, something self-hating feels like it's occurring here. Mm-hmm. I hope it's not something as simple as they want his money or he don't want to give them money or something like that. But it just kind of, that thought kind of entered my mind because it's really extreme. Like, you change your name for a new child with a new wife who is not black, I don't think.
No.
So not necessarily that means anything, but I think it does mean something.
I think it does. I think it does.
So he is, it's terrible to say the least, not just for the son and his family, but also for Brian. I mean, he seems pretty okay. Like, he seems like he's happy with his decision. It doesn't seem like it came from some kind of depressed state or anything. He seems like he is, conscious of what he's doing, which makes me think that maybe something's not connected right anymore.
I think when I see instances like this, I instantly think that it's the influence of the woman or the wife when this happens. I think sometimes that this is an effort for you to go above and beyond to prove to your woman that, you are with her and that you are down with this particular marriage and you are committed, and it's the new fresh love. It's the new love. It's not the old wife, the ex-wife, the ex-family, the ex-life. This is the new thing. And I want to prove to you that I'm committed to this new thing, and he's overdoing it. And like, maybe the wife is contributing to this in some shape, form, or fashion and having him to do this.
Now, let me say this. You said two things. Mm-hmm. He wants to portray this new world, new wife, new family. And then you said he's influenced by the wife. Mm-hmm. I want to say on the record here that it's not necessarily, he could be doing this of his own volition without the wife's influence. So I'm not comfortable saying that the wife has influenced him in any fashion.
That's fair.
She could just be presenting a life that he now wants to have that he didn't have before.
That's fair.
So that's not something malicious. Could possibly not be something malicious on her part.
That's fair.
It could just be him wanting to be with her and have this life with her. Mm-hmm. So I can't, I'm not comfortable with saying the woman is responsible for his actions.
And that's fair. I'm speculating. This is Kaz saying this. I feel like maybe she has some type of influence on him because it happens in the new relationship sometimes, and you see it where the influence of the new woman in the new relationship causes you to, do things like in the instances with some guys who will take care of the stepkids and not take care of their biological kids. They become
his choice.
His choice,
not hers.
But
he could be man enough to say, you are not going to do this or this. I'm not going to be away from my children. That ain't the only woman.
If the
now, there
woman
might be women out there who are saying,
yes,
that, but I don't think it's fair to blanketly say when you see this that the woman is responsible.
I agree.
Because he's still able to make a decision for his family and for himself and include her. He just got to grab his balls and do it.
There's some circumstances where that could be the case. I'm pretty sure. It's not a blanket statement for all women. I'm not saying that all women in all, stepdad cases, this is what they're doing. I'm not saying that, but
I
me,
would personally
it feels like
have an issue if I was with a man who took care of my child and didn't take care of his children with other women. I wouldn't even want that man.
She sees the relationship. She sees what's happening. She's seeing him change his name. Why are you not saying to him, like, what is to make you think that this won't happen to you?
What is to make you think that she's not saying those things? Why are you leaning towards the fact that she's not saying anything?
I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to blame her.
But that's what it seems
at
like.
the end of the day. Okay. Devil's advocate. I get it. And you're right. We don't know this. I was giving my opinion on what I felt like from looking at the situation could possibly be happening, because I can't fathom a man wanting to just disown his kids like that. And it's not just the son, it's all of the kids. I understand that, you felt like they have asked you for money and you tried to set them up and yada, yada, yada. I get all of that. That happens all the time. But, these intentional gestures that you're making to show that you're trying to separate yourself from those lives, it seems weird.
He intends for it to sting them.
Yes.
He's very deliberate about it hurting his children, which is problematic, because you could do all of this and not publicize it.
Absolutely.
So it's that part is troubling for me.
We talked about it when we talked about this, I think, last season when we talked about this very thing. It's very R&B-ish of him to do this. This is like a move that an R&B dude would do right here. This whole thing, the theatrics, the emotion of it all. This all seems like something that an R&B guy of Brian McKnight's ilk
that is just slick hateration.
I think we both said this kind of in a sense.
I might have agreed with you there.
Yes, it's a very R&B thing to do.
Depends on how the conversation was going.
I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to watch. Changing your name to a baby's name, like that's an extreme level of gotcha.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You can have my name if it means that much to you. I'll just give myself a new name with this kid.
With the kid. This is a baby.
That's horrible. And he is creating tension already for this child and his siblings, which is another level of, grave disappointment.
It is. So you can imagine. Hopefully there's no vitriol being spit as the kid. And I saw Brian McKnight Jr. was tweeting or commenting. He was like, we love the kid. We are ready to welcome the kid in as our sibling and that whole thing. So, maybe it is the younger kids, the older kids that have the sense. Maybe they had a sense and maybe the parent doesn't have a sense in this instance. We see that a whole lot.
I'm telling you, I think something's not clicking anymore. Something is mentally unbalanced. I think something is mentally unbalanced.
That's some trauma there. He needs to go talk about that.
Maybe he needs to make another album and sing. He hadn't been making albums. Maybe he needs to. Maybe that was his therapy.
I was about to say no, but no. I'm sorry. Stop the presses. Stop the motherfucking presses. He announced his new album when he announced the name change.
Oh yeah, he did. And the album is Lullabies.
Yes.
Dedicated to his child.
Yes. So that you tried to give him out, and there it is. Tried to give him out.
Brian.
All right. Well, Brian McKnight, get it together. At whatever point, I don't know what's going on with you. You know what I'm saying?
If you haven't been to therapy, try therapy.
Yeah.
Just see what it do for you.
Yeah. Stop writing songs. Go and talk to somebody. Just don't write. I don't even know how you can write an album called Lullaby. Well, I guess if he's writing it for the baby, then his energy was directed toward that, you know, unless the songs are saying lullabies, baby, I love you so much because you are not these other ungrateful motherfuckers that I gave birth to previously over some piano licks at the end of the day. All right.
Well, if it's to get people interested in the album, he's done a great job because I definitely want to see what he's talking about.
It's crazy now that you expect people to do
outrageous
shit like this when they're getting ready to drop an album or sell a book. We've gotten to the point where you got to just go out. It's to the point where it's going to get so bad, there's no telling what people are going to do to get people to pay attention to their book or to their album.
We already at that point.
Yeah, it's bad. People are going to get themselves arrested. They're releasing sex tapes. They changing the name to a baby's name. They're doing all kinds of things.
They're telling family secrets.
You know, it's crazy. Instead of just releasing the product and letting us get a load of it. Like people would have bought Jada Pinkett's book without her saying anything. She could have just said, you can read the book and find out what's happening. And people would have bought the book. But it's crazy the way the PR world spins. Speaking of which, we talked on the last show about the Cheesecake Factory date. It started a wildfire of posts, and there was a list that was put out by somebody, and it's been circulated hundreds of thousands of times. There's a list of places where women have said that you can't take me on a first date.
This woman.
Then there was a list that some guy put out a list of women that you don't need to date. Then there was another list of great places that you can go on a first date. But getting back to the first list, there were several places on here. People have shared it. There's some people that's like, hey, I wouldn't do Waffle House. No, you can't come to my house. No, we're not going to do this. Like maybe 2 or 3 on the list. And the rest of them, they say, of course, we would do any of those. Now, of course, taking a dude back to your home or to his home on the first date, I think that's inappropriate for any woman. I don't think it's safe. But the other ones, I don't see any problem with. You got to like Waffle House. If you are a person that just likes Waffle House, generally Waffle House could be a cool place to go.
Yeah.
If you like Waffle House.
You know, I have a client who who is helping me to rationalize some of these things. And one thing that I learned is that women actually who make these decisions for themselves, not all of them, but some of them are making these decisions to make the man rise up, to elevate their approach, because men don't really have to do anything but express interest and look like they have money for a girl to be with them, right? So there's this thought process that I'm not going to just take what you give me. I'm going to make you rise to meet me. So the ways that they are doing that is to show them, no, you're not going to, minimize this. Dating me is a gift. Getting to know me is a gift. Getting to spend time with me is something that you should cherish. To that point, I think that cherishing a woman, treating us like treasure, treating us like queens has actually diminished over the years. I don't necessarily know if this is the right way to go to remind them of how we should be treated, but I do understand with some women that this approach, along with other things, is helpful to make them step up their game. And I really don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is the, again, blanketness of it all. Like, if you just want to have a good meal that you don't want to pay for yourself, I don't really agree with that. But if you're saying, yes, sir, I'm interested in you. I know that you're interested, but how interested? Because if I'm going to be looking to build something with you, I need to know that you find me something that you need to work towards, something that you want to accomplish, something that is worth having. So
is that a monetary thing, though?
It's not about the money, I don't think, as much as it is the thought process.
If the thought process and the effort is there, then I agree with you wholeheartedly. I agree with that. I think, first of all, and this is my belief, again, yes, these women are our queens and we should treat them as such. But I also want black men to understand that you are kings as well. We are kings. Y'all are queens. We are both at the top of the food chain. As far as I'm concerned, we're talking about our beautiful black brothers and sisters. We should all be revered. The time that we spend together should be reciprocal all the way across the board. You treat the woman like a king, a queen. The woman treats the man like a king, and then they can go forth on whatever the royal path is that they're going on. And I don't think that that's necessarily a monetary thing. I get the effort part of it. But again, if you're dating with the intention of getting to know someone, then I don't think that the date has to cost a certain amount of money for you to be able to have that conversation.
How do you know that the list is based on monetary value? What if the list is based on experience? What if the list is based on having something that's just us? Like, don't take me to the Cheesecake Factory where everybody goes for their first date, or where I went to with the last guy for my first date. You know, take me somewhere where we can start building a us thing. You know,
that's cool.
Who says that this list when it first came out, who said the list was based on, if you take me to the Cheesecake Factory, you ain't spending enough money?
That, in my opinion, that's what the list is based on. You gave an entirely different spin to the list. That makes sense, by the way. But from where this list came from the original viral post, those places that are on that list by women are deemed as cheap places that you take people when you broke.
You saw them say that this was.
I didn't see them say that. I didn't see that based upon that.
That's what I'm saying. That mentality was placed there as it matriculated through social media. I don't know who started this list, but I don't know if that was her intention. Don't take me there because it's cheap. You know, I think like the girl that was in the video, she didn't even say why Cheesecake Factory wasn't suitable for her.
She said she's too good for Cheesecake Factory. She's been on another show since then with the guy that she went out with.
She looked too good for Cheesecake Factory.
Yes.
So what that meant was she was showing up as her queenly self. She wanted to go somewhere where she would be matched, where that energy would be matched for her. To your point, though, where is that, sis? Like, where is that place? Mm. Do you want me to like take you to a mansion? Like, where is that place?
Again, she didn't like that dude. She was not attracted to that dude. She wanted that dude to take her to a restaurant that she couldn't afford herself so that she could go and make some content out of it, or go and tell her friends, I went to this very expensive restaurant. She was going to eat on that dude's dime, and he was going to drop her off back at the house, and she was going to get out of the car and high five him and get out there and say good night, and was probably never going to call him again unless, of course, she wanted another meal. So in that particular case, yeah, she wanted to go someplace expensive. It wasn't even about liking this dude. I
met a actually well thought out individual explain her position as it relates to the men elevating themselves. I thought the same thing, but now I understand that while there are women out there who are exactly what you're describing, I think and know that there are women out there who simply are saying, if you want to be with me, show me. Not because of the money. Some of these women had their own money.
How was that? I'm confused at how was it showing you, though? How is me taking you to this particular place and not taking you over here? How was that showing you that I want to be with you?
I don't know, because I don't actually think this way. But
right.
What I'm saying is that there's
a thought process out there.
There is a thought process out there, and I'm not sure that it's absolutely wrong to say this is what I want, this is what I deserve to be treated like, this is what I desire. I think the problem comes in when it becomes superficial. But if it's not superficial, then maybe it makes sense for some people.
it's hard for me to differentiate the superficiality of it, because you're basically saying you need to take me someplace expensive that matches what I feel my worth is, which is fine at the end of the day. But to me, that's the most superficial of superficial things, because I don't know you. If I don't know you, I don't need to go somewhere and spend $250 or $500 to get to know who you are. That's a conversation that we can have anywhere. And before I spend that amount of money, I want to get to know you to know if we're even compatible to get to that point.
I agree.
If I take you on a date and I spend $500 and then you pop up and say, I think Jamie Foxx is a clone now, I got to leave. You crazy.
I
can't, you know what I'm saying?
And it just depends on the individual. I think a lot of these women who have this mentality are younger women or who have not really experienced love yet, good love yet.
Good love.
So they don't really necessarily have the appreciation for the fact that good love can supersede that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if they want to love someone who is going to be able to financially support them, and some women are making the decision that I don't want to work, I want to do the household thing, I don't want to have struggle, and I'm not sure that it's wrong to feel that way.
Not wrong. But you can find you somebody that fits that.
You have to find someone to fit that, but you have to also understand that you can meet someone who can take care of you, who can provide for you, who can put money in your pocket and whoop your ass, or who can also cheat on you constantly, or who can also lose everything they had in a year.
Value you.
You know what I'm saying? They can also
mentally abuse you.
Yes. So I think that some living and experience will shape that a little bit better, but I still, on the onset, kind of don't really particularly, I don't have the same problem with it as I did initially hearing this story.
To each his own, but I can say all of the responses that I've seen from the ladies who are like, this list is crazy, I'll go to all these places except, and across the board, they was like, no, I'm not coming to your house, and you're not coming to mine. That's general. Although I tell dudes all the time, and I will tell you now, you can wait and you will find a woman who will be cool coming to your house, or you going to their house. It's just a matter of people not being patient enough sometimes to find a person that they are compatible with that wants what they want. And there's not a problem with that. But most of the ladies that I saw that said this list is ridiculous, they was 40 plus. They had lived life, been married, divorced, or whatever the case is, and they was like, this is ridiculous. I will go to all of these places.
They've decided what the life is that they want. Either you with it or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And to each his own. Like
and it's crazy because I'm pretty sure a lot of them started off with you got to take me to such and such and such and such and such and such. Like age and living and having experiences and wisdom, man, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
It is a game changer.
The perspective changes as you mature.
It does. It does. That's
crazy. I was
crazy.
trying to sit here and think if there is a place that I absolutely would not go on a first date. And there is not a place. I mean, if I was to decide that I didn't want to go to a place and it was a first date, it would be because I didn't want to go to that place, whether it was the second date, third date, period. I didn't want to do it, or I didn't want to go, or something like that. It wouldn't be because it's a first date. And I really believe that people should discuss where the first date is going to be, because both people are, equally invested into the date. So it shouldn't be, come pick me up and take me someplace so I can identify who you are based on where you take me. I mean, so ultimately, dating needs a one-on-one. People have forgotten how to date because people have these ideas about what they're dating for. And if you are not sharing that with the person you're going on a date with until you get in the car with them, eventually that's going to be problematic anyway.
We were talking, and I think either one of us could even remember what we officially called our first date, you and I.
That's because we spent so much time together before we actually went out together.
We spent a lot, like it's crazy because we spent so much time together. The first time that we actually chilled and had a conversation. So there was the very first time. No, this was the second time. The first time I laid eyes on you, it was a 30-second blip. You were passing by me in, my homeboy's crib. You passed through. You didn't even speak to me. You was on your way out the door. I was completely floored at how sexy you were. I went to the back and asked about you. He told me who you were. He said, no, you can't holler at her. And that was it. Didn't have any idea that I would run into you again. The second time was, of course, the time that I walked up to you. You were walking towards me, and I was like, it's her. In my head, I was like, I am about to shoot my shot right now. And the first thing I said to you is, will you marry me? And we struck up a conversation from that point. The end of the night was almost like Cinderella. You left. I couldn't find you. I was looking for you. Couldn't find you. Went up to the after party. Thought you were going to be there because people were up there. You were not there. I spent the time in the after party asking one of your friends where you were, and subsequently trying to fight her off me while I was asking for you at the same time, which was hilarious. No, ma'am.
Want you.
No,
I'm
ma'am.
asking you about your friend.
No, which was funny. And then the second time, which was a few days later, ironically, after having not seen you for months, a few days later, running into you at the club, we went out in the car and we smoked and we talked. And that, to me, sticks in my mind as our first date.
Let's go with that then.
Pretty much. And then we spent pretty much every day together after that. And I don't think we even went on an official first date until much later. And I don't even know what we did.
From meeting each other to going together.
Yeah, we went together pretty fast.
We went together. We didn't know we were going together, but we stopped dating other people. We started seeing each other every day, and we spent all of our time communicating and learning each other.
We had rosters. We had rosters that we had to fire and release, set the team free. Both of us had to do that at the time.
Return to the world.
And I can't even remember if we went to the movies or we went to the club or went out to eat. I can't even remember what the very first thing that we did that was a gesture of we finna go out. I can't remember what that was because we went from smoking and chilling in the car, having a conversation, getting to know each other, to spending every free moment together and then going together. And then it snowballed into everything else from there.
I think our first date was actually with Rachel and Adrian. When we went out, that was my first time meeting her. You wanted to introduce me to her, and we went out to Bennigan's. I think that was our first date.
That might have been. And by the list that's out now, a lot of people would say that was not an adequate first date. But the first date, I guess then was the case was I was introducing her to my little sister. And my little sister was dating her now husband at the time, my brother-in-law. And this was my first time having my little sister to meet the woman who I was with to get her.
But we had been together for
a
long time.
We've been together for a minute.
Months before that.
So I
thought it was a great first date. Some people would probably be like a double date shouldn't be the first date.
Some people would say that. It's so many parameters that people put on things these days. It's just kind of crazy.
Good Lord.
Live. And we're here now.
It feels good.
14 years in, and we didn't even really have an official first date that we can remember. I consider the first date to be us smoking a blunt in that car in the parking lot at the club.
Felt like a date to me. Because what do you do on dates? You exchange information. You learn who you're dealing with. You have a good time.
And what better place to do that than over a blunt?
In a car.
In a club parking lot. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. So maybe y'all are overthinking this shit, really, at the end of the day. Maybe y'all overthinking it.
You don't have to, I don't know. I don't know. You don't have to spend any money, take me to a certain place, have me dress as. In fact, if you tell me that for the first day you want me to wear a ball gown or I got to get all spiffied up for that makes me feel a little weird because
I got anxiety even just talking about that.
Why, how I naturally show up, why is that not who you want to date?
Right.
But that's just me, I realize that I might be in the minority on that.
Strange thing.
I want to come up as fully me as I possibly can. Can I do that in a dress and some heels? Sure. But if you asking me to be comfortable so that we can put our attention on what's important, which is getting to know each other, I want to show up as the most comfortable version of me.
And as your real self, your true and authentic self, which is most important. So real quick, before we get out of here, you are an officiant. For those who don't know, if you are listening to this and you're watching this, my beautiful bride is an officiant. So she can marry you. And you are going to be officiating a wedding coming up. Just talk about what that feels like real quick. By the way, I think that's really cool. You have the ability to form a union between two people, and what your experience has been doing that real quick, because you're going to be doing that in just a few days, by the way.
I take it very seriously. I consider myself to be a love ambassador.
Love ambassador.
For good love. I am just as committed to keeping people together as I am to people doing what's right for themselves, not compromising who they are, not being traumatized or abused. But when I see people who have worked for their love, it is an honor for me to help them join in their union. And I always have consultations with them beforehand. Fortunately, the people that I have married have been people who are referred to me by people who know me closely. So it's never really a challenge for me, because I've either seen this love develop or I have a close enough relationship with whoever referred them to me to get some inside information about their story. The story is really important to me. Maybe one day I'll get to the point to where it's like, okay, you want to get married, I'll marry you. But right now in my life, it's important for me to understand their story, how they got together, how they make it work, what some of the parts of the relationship that need work, the parts that they have overcome, all of those things. I know that there are wedding officiants out there who don't get that involved, but it's important to me because I do spirit work. So I'm connecting, in my mind, I'm connecting two people forever. So I don't take that lightly. And it's just an honor to be selected to do anybody's wedding. Actually, it's not, I'm not remiss on how significant that position is, and I take it very seriously. So I'll be, removing myself from everything to just celebrate love, to celebrate them, to bask in the greatness of God bringing them together, and putting myself in a good place to stand with them as they join each other for wedded bliss.
And learning everybody's first date. I think that's a question I'm going to start asking folks now, to go back to their first date. I think that's the key element. It's crazy now because I think capitalism drives so much now, because I think about my mother and my father meeting and going out for the first time, or my grandparents meeting and going out for the first time, or dating in the 70s and 80s when capitalism didn't have such a hold, when social media didn't have such a hold, because everybody these days would look back on those days and say that, none of those men were honoring those women at all whatsoever, because they were going to places that weren't so extravagant and expensive, because shit just didn't cost as much back then.
Yeah, but the cost was commensurate with what they made.
It was. Touche.
Yeah.
It was indeed. At any rate, we appreciate you guys for tuning in with us, and we appreciate you guys for being patient. I have adequately rehydrated so that we could put this podcast together for you today here. My bride is going to be, officiating a wedding this weekend. So hopefully things get back into place and we'll be able to have you on point next week on time. But who knows? But because we're doing this from, this very comfortable location that we're at, we can do it whenever the hell we want to do it at the end of the day, and we can bring it to you guys. But we appreciate you because we've got some new subscribers in the last week, and you guys are, taking a look and, joining in, give us some your comments here and there. Still seeing folks out at Kroger every time I go in Kroger and telling me about seeing the podcast and how they enjoy it. The next time, I think I said that I'm going to record them because I kind of think my wife thinks that I'm lying when I say that. I don't think she believes me, but they actually do.
Because nobody tells me that. Well,
You don't be in Kroger like that.
That's not true. People do tell me, but I don't know if they be telling me.
We had some folks Friday night that said they watched it, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people do?
Yeah, I know people are watching it. I can see the views. I'm just saying they're not coming up to me telling me. It's a few, but I be feeling like, they just saying it. But maybe they telling the truth.
They listen. They be telling me parts of the conversation and the whole stuff that's going on. Like they're really tuning in.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And we appreciate y'all for doing it, man. Make sure y'all get y'all's tickets. If you are in Jackson, Mississippi, get your tickets to Debate Night. It's going down November the 24th. We got some really cool episodes that's going to be coming up real soon. Ourselves, according to Kaz Queen, the Vibe Controllers, Melanie Sanders, P in the Jar. We're going to be at Center Stage in Jackson, Mississippi. You're going to see what we do on this podcast, the Vibe Controllers. We're going to be doing it live in front of a live audience in the venue. It's a live, interactive, in-person social experience with libations, live music. We're going to have some grown folks talk. It's going to be really cool, something new, and we're going to be taking it on the road. So make sure y'all check that out. Make sure you go to Debate Night on Facebook. It's Debate Night on Instagram as well, and the YouTube page, Debate Night YouTube page. You'll see some very cool promo that we got up there. We had a really dope photo shoot, and you've been seeing those pictures. The official flyer is out as well. So make sure y'all go check that out, man. It's going to be a really cool night. All right. So at any rate, we're going to get on out of here, man. We appreciate you guys for tuning in with us. As always, I am Kaz.
And I'm Queen.
This is According to Kaz and Queen. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.